Hello, hello. Is this thing on? Anybody out there? Can you guys hear me okay? What's up, Jules? Miss Thang, Frank Meister. What's up? Camaro Lover. Miss Thang, Francis, what's up? Indy Pam, Charlie Murphy. Hey, Teresa. Good to see you. All right, I just wanted to jump on here first and kind of prepare you for this long intro. It's just something I threw together before the stream. Everything is pertaining to Delphi, and then from this point, we'll go ahead and we'll jump into the live stream. And if you want to call in, let me know. I'll share the link with you. Let me know if you can hear the music as well. Thank you, Teresa. It's pretty long. Hey, Miss Kitty. No music? You can't hear that music at all? Okay, let me stop that. Let's try this again. Try it this way. Can you hear that?
NASA, Disney.
Thank you, Lynn. This is the super long Delphi intro. How you doing?
Down the hill.
Hey, D.
Because they said I was the last person to talk to her. This is what they've told me. No, never. Not at all. I gave up my DNA, a hair follicle test. I've done everything they want me to. I have not.
Amy Lee, Patricia Warner, Karen Seeds. Hello, welcome. Hey, Derek. Truffles. Eminem. Lesbian historian. Good to see you.
The tape itself, it's not an order he's giving them. It almost sounds like if it would look like a school teacher. Say, guys, down the hill, or a coach, like someone who has
Vanessa.
Very familiar.
What's up?
Guys, down the hill. Guys, down the hill. Guys, down the hill. Guys, down the hill.
True Crime Housewife, hello. Melissa, hello. I should. What's going on, Copper? Me too, Derek. It's not my sound, it's my internet connection.
Investigators say he used the fake Anthony Shot social media profile to communicate with underage girls and receive sexually explicit images. Police interviewed Kline at the time.
If I stop sharing comments, it should go back to normal.
Him in that interview about another school-age girl that gave her address to the Anthony Shots profile just after the Delphi murders. Kline knew the girl in Galveston personally. The police told Kline that she comes home from school, sees this guy with a ski mask looking in her bedroom window, directly after giving this address to Anthony Shots. As a matter of fact, that's the incident that started everything else last time. That's how everything started last time, with that incident.
Did that help? Yeah. Sometimes it does that when I have to share my screen. I just threw this together pretty quick, so I didn't put it in the right format. It's my fault. Yeah, and something about this time of day also. My internet connection's not very well. It's not very good at all. Nice. Chopped broccoli. True that. I'll be the bad guy. Dana Carvey for sure. What's up, Mandy?
downhill. Guys, downhill. Guys, downhill. Guys, downhill.
Okay, there's more short coming up.
Guys, downhill.
Okay, there's more short coming up.
Guys, downhill.
Okay,
Guys,
there's more short coming up.
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 downhill.
Thanks, Tom. Yeah. I mean, I guess if you hear it, it might be hard to unhear it. Definitely in the guy's part. I don't know about in the down the hills part, or down the hill. Miss Kitty, there was an update, I think, yesterday. We'll take a look at it at some point during the live stream here. What's up, Anna? I mean, it is possible, my wrench. Is this a webcast? Yeah, I guess you could call it that. More of a live stream, really. Over at Delphi Sunny. This is a clip from Moon Crystal says down the hill sounds like KK to me. The only time I even hear any kind of similarity is in the guy's part. What's up, bass girl? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Olivia, I don't think I said hello to you. Denise. Hey, Bird Blue. There is always hope. Yes, January 13th. Still working on this timeline here for my channel. Some things I want to talk about with this timeline. A lot of missing time here. All right. For some reason, this time of day is really bad for my internet provider. There's a lot of people who work from home, I guess, nowadays. So yeah, that's a super long intro, Delphi intro. So I don't know. This is what I want to talk about today. It all happened in a very short amount of time from when Libby was introduced. File from that point here. That's all right. Maybe this will help. Okay, so it was about 2 weeks. Libby's friend introduces Libby to the Anthony Shots profile. I'm not sure if she was aware if it was Keegan Klein or not, but Keegan Klein was kind of catfishing her already. So is it possible that Keegan Klein was with somebody, you know, like somebody like a Richard Allen or somebody who participated in the murders? And because Kegan says, I don't remember talking to Libby. I remember, and this is in the transcripts, I don't remember talking to Libby. I remember talking to her friend. So that's like him saying like, yeah, I was part of it, but I'm not going to reveal the other part because I'm afraid. There's even a part in Keegan's transcript where they ask him like, I get it. Are you afraid? So I'm wondering, do they think that he was running to Vegas to hide? Do they think that he's afraid of this, whoever perpetrated the ski mask incident? You know, ski mask incident on the 20th and on the 21st. They flee to Vegas. He comes back. First thing he says is, I'm fucked. So I don't know. I think that's where I'm going to focus, is that short timeline between Kegan, the crime, the ski mask incident, the Vegas trip. There's a lot going on. I mean, it could be possible that Richard Allen is the person in the ski mask, right? He could have asked Kegan, all right, who else could be linked? How else can I be linked to this crime? Kegan probably said, well, Libby's friend. That's who when you and I were together and we were talking to them, that's how we made contact with her. And he's like, okay, well, if that's the only link, I'm going to go, Yeah, not to mention the child porn ring, right? So what could be the motive? Well, if they discovered a child porn ring because of the ski mask incident, okay, the ski mask incident leads to Anthony Shots. So if it wasn't for the ski mask incident, we may never even have heard of this Anthony Shots guy. And if we wouldn't have heard of the Anthony Shots guy, law enforcement would have never stumbled upon this huge pedo ring, right? So maybe the ski mask is not only trying to protect their identity from the murders, but it could be the same motivation. This could just be part of the same crime, potentially. Maybe the motivation was to protect the pedo ring. What else could lead to the pedo ring? Well, this other person could, because she's going to lead to Anthony. Sorry if I'm kind of glitchy. I can see the internet going in and out. But if Keegan Klein is part of the Messenger, Facebook, going to all these other social media platforms and then sending them over to the Kick Messenger or Skype or Snapchat. Hey, what's up, JJ? Yeah, sorry about the screen. Got people coming home, logging back into their systems, and I can't unhook some of my system. Emails, things. No, it probably doesn't bother you, but it bothers me. And also, I don't want people to think, sometimes people think it's theirs. They're like, what the hell's going on with my internet? So I just like to let them know, like, it's not you. Like, don't go reset your computer. I'm having connection issues. Is that out there? Here, let's try this one time. I'm going to reset this. Well, that looks better already. Peruvian says, does it help or hurt Alan's case if Anthony Shots is dead? Dead end. And or never mentioned by prosecutors. Honestly, I think without the Kegan Klein domino falling, it would have never knocked over Allen. I think Kegan is either directly responsible. Well, I think he's directly responsible for law enforcement looking into Keegan Klein or looking into earlier tips. Maybe he had information that the killer came forward earlier. Maybe the killer said something online like, well, I even came forward. So, it's not my fault. Or even maybe mocking law enforcement or toting the fact that, maybe just being cocky about it. Like, they're never going to find me. And maybe that's what changed the direction. Maybe they're like, well, this guy, might be somebody else. But I think either Kegan was communicating with Richard Allen in some form online, whether they were trading or Richard Allen was part of this pedo ring. And maybe Keegan Klein didn't know who he was, just maybe knew an online name, maybe like a Hannah Rostol or Emily. What was it? Emily Ann 45. Maybe it was something like that. Like, didn't really know him, but Kegan was like, well, I was talking to this guy, and he's the only one that would have known where they were. He was the one asking me for all this information. He was paying me for this information. He's the one that told me to ask him to meet him at the bridge. They're like, well, who? Well, this Hannah Rostol person. Okay. Not saying that's what happened. I'm just saying something like that. Something indirect. My only question is, why is it that 2 weeks after Libby being introduced to the Anthony shots, she's murdered? Why is that? Are they seeking her? Are they seeking to catfish her? Is she somebody that was just randomly caught in Keegan Klein's net? He goes out there and says he messages 50 girls at a time. Or was this something very direct? And if it was direct, why? Derek says, I don't feel like the criminology of the girls is something we know. That's a huge part of this puzzle. Yeah, that brings up a good point, because when we run through the timeline, and that's why I put it together, there's just this like an hour and 45 minutes where Richard Allen is just out in the woods doing who knows what. That's a long time. Well, I wouldn't say he's out in the woods for an hour and 45 minutes, but from the point he makes contact on the bridge at 2:13 with Abby and Libby, and why? Why did he make contact with them? Why the end of the bridge? Why is he walking so fast? Why are witnesses reporting him moving with purpose? Why is he passing those victims who are the same age group, same type of victim, same secluded area? Because if he just did it sloppy, happen chance, out in the middle of the woods, and he's walking around covered in mud and blood, he didn't care. Maybe he was planning to be caught. So why not, if he's walking around bloody and muddy, why not just attack those girls, those 3 girls? We know those 3 girls were there. They were seen by multiple witnesses, and they said they were there. Why not them? Why are you walking with purpose? Why are you covering your face? Why are you backing up into the CPS building and going right to the perfect spot to attack somebody who just happens to be coming there at that very moment? According to the timeline, Richard Allen's there at 1:30. Abby and Libby are there at 1:40, about 1:45. 1:45, 1:49. Why? This looks like a setup. Why are these girls being set up? Did somebody hire Richard Allen? Is it self-preservation? I'm part of this huge pedal ring. These girls are going to get us in some big trouble. So I got to take out these 2 girls, and then I got to go take out that other girl. We're all in big trouble, and these bigger fish might come hurt me. What could be motivating anybody? Because if it was random, why not the other girls? They're all alone right there. What's up, Michigan? All right, let's go to the chat. Bossy, I'm convinced Libby was targeted and Abby was collateral. I don't mean that offensively either. However, it's my opinion. I really want to know what was going on at that sleepover. Who was somebody else with Keegan Klein? Was Keegan Klein catfishing his family friend's daughter. And hey, she has a friend, I have a friend, you know, and then you got creepy other friend over here catfishing Abby. So I don't know, maybe this other person that was with Keegan Klein wasn't so good at catfishing. Maybe he couldn't show restraint. You know, Kegan was satisfied with just convincing them, you know, getting into character and receiving something back. You know, if they were convinced he could live that character, I think he was truly happy doing that. But if there's another person with him, like, hey, I have a friend over here, and then that friend's like, hey, well, I need access to that account so that I can continue on talking with these girls. Give me access to that. Olivia, too. Remember, there's a possibility Libby thought she was meeting the Anthony Shots that was in the photo. Yes, investigators mentioned while interviewing Kegan Klein the second time when he was arrested 3 years later, that she was enamored with him, that she totally bought the Anthony Shots profile and she was really into him. She thought it was a real person. Now you got to remember this guy was a professional catfish. They break it down in that transcript. He was doing it since 2014. And he said almost every girl that he did it to would send him images. Think about that. This guy's messaging 50 girls a day. And he's like, yeah, most of them send me stuff. So think about that when you're trying to sympathize with Kegan Klein. The more information comes out that might separate him from the crime, don't forget those details. Derek, you think it might be a setup? I mean, is it possible that he was just back there maybe doing some drugs? He's like, I'm going to go here to the Monon High Bridge and I'm going to go back there to the southeast end of that bridge and I'm going to get high. Then while he's high out of his mind, two girls walk up. Could it be that simple? The Rockaway says, do you think he sat in his vehicle waiting for a text or update that the girls were on the way? No, the timeline says absolutely not. They see his vehicle pulling in, I think, at 1:26. And the girls, that's like right around the same time the three juvenile witnesses are taking a photo of that bench, which is about the halfway mark. And as they're leaving from that area, between that halfway area and the Freedom Bridge is when they pass by who they believe is the suspect. So he would have had to park and then immediately come walking quickly, because it's about a 12-minute walk from the CPS building to the north end of the High Bridge. So he parked and got right out. According to the timeline, that's what I'm seeing. And when I say timeline, I'm referring to the witness timeline of the information provided in the probable cause affidavit that they used to arrest Richard Allen. I'm still working, fine-tuning it, but it kind of gives you the basic idea, and we'll take a look at that as well. Trying to catch up on this chat here. Sorry, guys. Tina, hello. I think it's a good possibility the pig roast is entwined in this. Never heard of it. Miss Kitty, Sleuth is no longer frozen. Yeah, I think I fixed it. Richard Allen had too much stuff on him for this to be a random killing. They were targeted. There's a lot that points at the fact that he is targeted. Think about it. He backs in when he pulls up. Passes potential victims who match the age range of the victims. Doesn't seem interested. The witnesses say that he was walking with purpose, face covered, hands in his pocket. Um, and why go directly to the place that the victims are basically they're on their way. As he's standing on the bridge, the girls are on their way. They're driving at that very moment. The adult female witness sees him on the bridge, says a man in a jean jacket, which is strange. They all kind of gave a different description, but the same description. If you put it all next to each other and on the bridge, there'd be more light, right? Jean jacket would appear lighter. On the trails, there's going to be much more shade. So you might remember it, all in black, things like that. And it depends on the witness. Maybe they didn't see the same person. Remember, this is just somebody walking by happenstance. And then maybe even a full day later, they're like, what did you see? Law enforcement, they just realized two of their friends has passed away. It could have been them potentially. And now they're being interviewed by law enforcement, trying to remember something that they have no reason remembering. Why? How many people do you remember that just walk by you? You don't. Now I practice that. It's turning into a strange habit, but I try to remember license plates, vehicle descriptions, people's descriptions. So I practice doing that now. But before, if you asked me, I'd be like, I don't know. Glasses, maybe. I would have no clue. So why should they? One of the female witnesses, however, did a great job. She's like, blue windbreaker, hoodie over his head, the hoodie that he had under his jacket over his head, blue jeans, head down, face covered. Like, so some people are just a little more detailed than others. And maybe somebody was busy. Let's say they were taking an image and somebody's walking by and they just look over real quick. And then after the fact, the girls are together and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. Remember that guy that walked by? And the parents are like, what do you mean? What guy? Oh, well, we seen a guy walk by, and he was kind of creepy and he looked like he was walking with purpose and he was going right to the bridge. And they're like, you need to go talk. We need to go talk to police right now. And so while they're talking, they're probably kind of like, not without even knowing it, distorting their own recollection. The more they talk about it and the more they hype it up, the more the recollection is going to change. I think it's just human nature. What's up, Tech? What's going on? Hey, Bogey. Just another stalker killer. Yeah, I mean, he lived by both of them, kind of. He lived closer by Abby. But with the place he worked and him being by that school, who knows what he was really up to. Hopefully he'll just come clean. Bossy says, we have to quit looking at it as both girls being targeted to get real answers. Just my opinion. Libby was the one in contact with the shots account. Yeah, so we leaned towards her being the victim because of Kegan Klein and Kegan Klein's connection with Anthony Shots and Anthony Shots' connection with Libby. So we lean towards that, but we don't know now. Yeah, the bullet evidence is very strong. I think eventually they will prove that in court, that it's better for the case than it's not. Miss Thang says the sleepover is a factor too. Yeah, I mean it's a key incident. Derek would call it a trajectory, and I struggle with that word, but it is a trajectory image. It's a trajectory incident. It changed the direction of everything. If it wasn't for that incident, would Libby be victimized? If it wasn't for that incident, would she have been introduced to the Anthony Shots profile? If it wasn't for that incident, would law enforcement even have any connection to Keegan Klein, who I believe led them to Richard Allen? Trajectory. One of those words. Don't give me cottonmouth words. That's a good point. Bird Blue says you can't make sense out of the senseless. Now, was this a senseless crime or was somebody put up to it? How's he connected? How's Keegan Klein and Richard Allen connected? Witch says Truffles, he did so much so he did it in broad daylight. That's a strong urge. Strong urge or motivated by money? Could somebody have hired Richard Allen like, hey man, I need you to silence these people? Was he trying to protect his secret? I'm like, man, like this pedal ring is a big part of my secret life. I don't want my family ever finding out about it. It's important to me. These girls stand in between that. I can't believe it wasn't somehow making money messaging 50 girls at a time. Matter of fact, he wasn't then me. He is a psycho creeper. Well, they do talk about the money account. I don't know if that was, I think, going to, so the money was going to Libby. I want probably Apple Pay. Was Libby blackmailing him somehow? Could be. I want to know why it's so quiet. No one has come out talking about Richard Allen from the town pubs. Yeah, that's a good point because his voice is very similar. Right? The down the hill part sounds just like, to me, sounds very similar to Richard Allen. Osimo says, just too big of a coincidence that KK just talked with them and then Richard Allen killed them. They are linked together, in my opinion. Yeah, do we have two scumbags doing two scumbaggish things simultaneously unconnected? Or are they working together for whatever reason? That's the part that's driving me crazy. Why the hell would you go do this? Like, are you completely just out of your mind that there's no way to explain why you did what you did? All right. So I pulled like, I think 3 or 4 pages from the Keegan Klein interview transcript from when he was arrested, the most recent time. These are all the pages of him communicating with Liberty. Yeah, most 14-year-olds do. I know I did. If wanted to set someone up, Ron Logan or Keegan, even Tony would have been a better choice, not a family man in his 50s with no priors. That's a good point. You would set up somebody like Keegan Klein. I always wondered if maybe he was being set up to take the fall. Did Richard Allen know a friend one or Ski Mask Girl? I wonder. I haven't been able to find any connection. But he wasn't really big on social media anyway, Richard Allen, that is. Indy Pam says, I have a feeling these bigger fish are going to make sure Richard Allen is unalived before he testifies against them. Just a thought. I hope not. He needs to answer for what he did and why he did it. If he did it. First warrant served. That was February 25th, just a few weeks after the actual murders, and the same day Keegan Klein and TK came back from their Las Vegas trip. So you had Kegan Klein, according to the transcripts, using the Anthony Shots profile, asking Libby's friend, hey, we should meet up when you get off school. Your parents aren't home. What's your address? Or somebody related to that family. It's communicating with the Anthony Shots profile. That person gets home and sees somebody looking in her window who's wearing a ski mask. Okay, that happened. You have Keegan Klein asking for the address. Well, actually, no. Looking up this person on Facebook. So according to the history that they pulled from his phone, he was looking up this family on Facebook. And then the following day, on the 20th, the ski mask incident happens, right? On the 21st, Keegan Klein and his father go to Las Vegas. On the 25th, they return and they're raided. The police raid their home. So you have to remember, Keegan Klein is in prison right now because of the Delphi case. They didn't raid his home for child porn. They didn't have FBI, state police, Carroll County, local. They didn't have all these people involved because he was catfishing and soliciting for nude images from teen victims. That's what they found during the search. But that's not why they were there. Base Girl says, was KK selling the photos of the young girls? I think he was. That might be his part in the pedal ring. He's like a tool. You know, we'll go to Keegan Klein and we'll get some new photos. We'll see what he's got for us. Courtney, hello. Sleuth, I'm concerned about the Idaho PCA compared to Richard Allen's. The one for BK was very detailed. And in my opinion, they seem much more confident with BK arrest than the Richard Allen arrest. Well, I think they're confident in the Idaho murders that there's one person, there's one suspect. And I think they believe wholeheartedly they have the one and only person responsible. With the Delphi case, they don't believe that. They believe that there's others involved. Now, that's a scary thought. And if there's others involved, they don't want to alert this person, right? They don't want to go giving him all this information while he's running around free. They need this person in custody if he exists. Tina, I understand the girl's sleepover was the same night as the pig roast. What pig roast? What? If you can show me one article or one person talking about a pig roast, I will put it on my screen. I have a 16-year-old niece who says she comes across Keegan Klein types online every day, unfortunately. Girls learn the signs pretty early on, starting to think KK is one, mini, and unrelated. I don't know. I think he was a very sophisticated catfish. You got to think, this guy was perpetrating online as a young girl, a 13-year-old, created the profile Emily Ann 45. So he's not running around as Anthony Shots. He's running around as Emily Ann. Emily Ann is planting seeds for the victim to go over here and check out Anthony Shots, right? Have you seen this guy? Or, hey, I know this guy. Boom, goes over here to Anthony Shots. Anthony Shots says, come over to my Snapchat, or let's talk on the Skype. And then that's when he convinces them to do all the bad stuff. So he's not just catfishing. Like he's playing catfish chess with young girls, young victims, And we all know that they pick on these certain types that come out and talk openly about problems they're having. Well, and we all know Libby was adopted. There's no shame in that. But that is something that these predators look at. That's something that they look for, unfortunately. All right, let's jump into this real quick. You had like a swipe pin and the backup on one phone. I don't. So the Samsung or something. This is investigators talking to Keegan Klein. Yeah, so like I said, the things that we need to clarify on that stuff, we need to clarify. And just as in the child pornography and the solicitation and the exploitation, that you were honest, like you weren't honest, like you said. I mean, you weren't just nervous. Kagan's like admits to that. He says, right. And with the anxiety of getting caught, the Delphi investigation, we found things that you weren't honest about either. What do you mean? And that I'm going to go into that because he's like, yeah, please do. What we need to discuss it, okay? You had told investigators, I know you say you don't remember a girl that you ever talked to, but I know you remember Liberty German, right? And you talked to her and you admitted to talking to her. I don't think I ever did. I think I talked to one of her friends, like I told them. You admitted you talked to her. So what if somebody else is with him? Is that possible? He's like, I was talking to her friend. I wasn't even talking to Liberty. I was talking to the friend that introduced me to her. Derek says, sleuth intuition. He wasn't reading stock tips. Remember, didn't the cops say one phone couldn't be traced? Yeah, that might be what they found. He could have blabbed online like, oh, I even talked to law enforcement. They're not on to me. I threw the phone in the Wabash. They're never going to find it. Like, what if he's on like the Kick app or something on this phone and he's just kind of blabbing away? Bossy says he has a home he can get high in. His wife was away in Peru caring for her parent. Her brother, who passed away, used to care for the one parent. So she was out of town at the time. He's like, I don't know. For some reason, when these types of crimes happen, I just feel like there's some kind of hard drug involved. It's like, how else do you justify it? But the truth is, a lot of times these guys are just out of their mind. I wish I knew where this information came from, but somebody here in town said that RA filled up KK's car with gas at the gas station here in town. Like I said, unknown where info came from, though. I think there is more to this. Doug Carter said, I wish we could tell people what we know. There has to be more. I'm thinking others are involved. Yeah, I'm wondering if there's an unknown witness. Because when they gave the press conference after they arrested Richard Allen, one of the questions media asked him was, should we be seeing somebody receive the reward? And Doug Carter didn't say, no, it was good old-fashioned police work that brought this one in. He was like, no, we'll get into that later. So that made me think right away, man, maybe somebody finally got the courage and came forward. Like, I wonder if Richard Allen's family, friend, or neighbors came forward and were like, man, I just got to tell you guys, like, he has this weird shed. I saw him burying something. Who knows? All right, let's continue on with this. For a few hours at a sleepover, it was more than you talked to her for more than a few hours at a sleepover. And then you blocked her because she was annoying. You remember that? Kegan says, yeah, you're right. Yeah. You remember that? Yeah. Okay, so you just lied. So you do know who she is. You did talk to her. And why did you block her? So again, I'm going through with a fine-tooth comb. That's not what happened. And I think you wanted to be truthful, and it was hard for you because you were scared. I mean, it's a double homicide investigation. Kegan says, yeah. The investigator says, I get it. Kegan's like, right. Like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm scared. I ain't going to tell you shit. Like, you don't know this guy the way I know him. Law enforcement says, I get that. But here's where you have to be honest. Well, let's stop here real quick. Because in his, I think it was his arrest, probable cause for arrest. No, actually, I think it was just the arrest, information from the arrest in his first interview. But he says I was fucked. So he comes back, the day he comes back from Las Vegas, his home gets raided, and he tells law enforcement, well, you know, I should have took off. I know I'm fucked. I'm fucked. So why is he fucked? And why is he fully aware of that? Now, are they saying that he's scared here? Scared to go to jail, scared to get in trouble, or scared of the person who committed the crimes because he knows who it is and he could be next? Is that why he could be scared? Yes. In this transcript here, I didn't pull those pages, but if you read the full transcript, there is a page in here. It says, and we have the Anthony Shots money account going to Libby. And that's quote. That's quoting. He could have been tracking Libby through social media posts. Yeah, that could have been why he rushed. Maybe he was stalking them online, cyber stalking, getting high at home, wife's gone. Who knows what else weird stuff he was doing alone in that home. Nobody's there. It's just him. Cyber stalking young girls, trading information with Keegan Klein online. Boom, right there on Snapchat. Oh, we're going to the High Bridge. We should be there a little after 1:30. So what time does he get there? Right about 1:30. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Could have been cyber stalking. Thanks, Frank. Ron Logan. I don't see Ron Logan playing a part in this whatsoever. I just don't. Yeah, in his probable cause affidavit, there's some very sketchy stuff going on there. But I think that was self-preservation on his part. All you have to do is really look at what happened to him, right? Look at what happened to him, and just that'll tell you why he lied about what was going on. Habitual offender out drinking while two girls are being victimized on his property. He knew he was going to get in trouble. I wonder if he was honest, if it would have helped. Max said Libby told him she was talking to a 19-year-old on Snapchat, but didn't know who he was. Yeah, I remember Julie Melvin confirming that right after the press conference. Moon Crystal says, Bossy, that's how I think of it. Richard Allen's wife was going through her own issues right around then, leaving him open to doing stuff without her noticing. She was distracted. Shoot, for all we know, he was trying to punish his family. Maybe they were going through some hard times, and he was drinking heavily, and for whatever reason, he was going to try to punish her. A lot of these married killers and people that go out and do weird stuff, they say that. Once they admit to the crime, a lot of times they say that they were trying to punish the other person. I was trying to embarrass them. I was trying to destroy their lives, the way they were destroying mine at the time. Good, Teresa. Thanks, Lynn. Says, looked up Keegan Klein's hearing, scheduled activity pretrial conference scheduled for January 26, 2023 at 10 a.m. Yeah, there has been some recent changes. And we're going to look at that. I pulled a quick little video clip that covers all of that. So we'll speed through here. I get that, but here's why you have to be honest about it, because now we have all the information, okay? Kagan's like, all right, you have all the information. Let me see it. That's what Kegan does. He's like, you got to show it to me. I'm not just going to come out and give it to you. I want to see it. And I'm telling you right now, you can say you don't remember, but I'm telling you for a fact, you did not just talk to them during a sleepover. Okay? I'm telling you for a fact, you said, I didn't exchange any pictures with them. You said I didn't exchange any pictures with them. I don't think I ever did. Investigator said, I'm telling you, that's a fact you did, okay? Because the Anthony Shots persona, the fake account, right? Kagan's like, right. That I'm admitted to making, communicated with Liberty German on Snapchat, on Instagram, like I said, it was not just for a couple of hours, okay? So we need to revisit that. Kagan's like, right. This is Kegan. He's like waiting for them to show it to him. It's like, show me it. And we need to clarify that, because right now, what we have in that, what we can officially go with is you saying that, but we know for a fact it was a lie, okay? That's what we know right now, because we have the data, and again, I made the comment in the beginning, Snapchat thinks that, right, that it all deletes. It doesn't, okay? So when you think that, how did you meet Liberty German? You didn't meet in person. How did you? I don't know. I literally don't know. And again, I had to be on Instagram or something. Okay. It wasn't on Instagram. Yeah. And again, you can't tell me you don't know, because you have to know, because this needs to be cleared up. So law enforcement knows for a fact that he's lying. But Kagan's like, you need to put it right here in my hand. Bogey says, at Frank Meister, that is the simplest explanation. He stalked them and evolved to wanting to kill them. I mean, that's a jump. But I guess if you're cyber stalking somebody, you're already showing signs that maybe you have some kind of sickness that's becoming worse. Hey, Charlie, McClellan says there are others involved. He can't be talking about KK. They're not still trying to gather info to charge him. That ship has sailed. Yeah, if anything, they're removing charges. He is now, I think he's cooperating with them. He may not be able to say it was him, and him, but I think he gave them something really important. Because if these guys are all communicating some kind of porn ring, they might have said too much. I'm not exactly sure. Miss Kitty, yeah, I don't know if they're connected, but it seems strange. The time frame, right? Early February, Kegan meets Libby. The same friend that introduced Libby is part of the ski mask incident. And then the time frame, the trip to Vegas, the search warrant, it just all happened in such a small amount of time. It's got to be connected. I think it's somehow targeted. Now, I don't know if it was just their basic catfishing, and then maybe they didn't adhere to, staying anonymous. Maybe one took it too far, like, hey, come over here to Skype, or here's my actual phone number, or here's my real face. Like, look, it's me. And they're like, oh shit, I know that person. That's the guy from CVS. Regina Norwood says, ever think the witness with the great description and took the pick of empty bench could possibly part of the master plan? I've considered it. Like Mean Girls setting up Abby and Libby, girls that age can be vindictive. Yes. One of my first theories was that young girls close to the age of Abby and Libby outsourced somebody to kill the girls for whatever their reasons, and they were mutually invested in each other for maybe an inappropriate relationship. But there's nothing right now that points to that. But yeah, that is a theory that they could be misleading and maybe even be trying to set up Richard Allen. Or maybe they conspired together and then tried to ensure that he would take the fall eventually. Just a theory. The ski mask incident, I don't know if it was with KK, but it was after the murders. Murders took place on the 13th. Girls were found on the 14th. Ski mask incident happened on the 20th. The Vegas trip happened on the 21st. Search warrant happened on the 25th. So it was just like one thing after the other. Just a lot. It's like the killer wasn't done doing what he needed to do, right? If the ski mask incident is 100% real, which I believe that it is, he was not done doing whatever he needed to do. There was more parts to just what happened at the High Bridge. So I'm wondering if something happened at the sleepover or shortly after. Maybe they had already met up with this person and realized that it wasn't who they said they were. Okay, now this is something very strange. So investigators say, okay, just like again, it's a fact that you're communicating to her multiple days at a time, just like other girls that you were talking to. So we understand you're talking to other girls and you're also talking to them, including up to the day she went missing right before. And that I want to know is you would communicate with her on what? Which phone are you communicating? What's your primary? The iPhone was your primary device, right? That's a fact. Kegan says yes. Okay. What other devices would you communicate with her on? I don't know. I have no clue of even talking to. Oh, here we go. See, he's like, if you're not going to show me the device, I'm just going to deny it. What other devices would you communicate with anybody else on at the time? iPhone, yeah. Well, this is very important what investigators say to Kegan here. They say, okay, well, on February 13th, this would have been logged in a little bit earlier. So that would have been 8 o'clock a.m. in the morning at your house. Okay? Where you and your dad lived. 2 separate devices. You see the numbers? And he must be showing him the numbers here. See the numbers here? How they're the same? Log in, log out. Log in, log out. One device logs in and logs out, all within minutes of each other. The same account, Anthony Shots. So why would somebody do that? Is this Richard Allen logging in to the account? And this is not, and it had to be the Samsung Galaxy or something. So they're looking for a device. Is this what they're looking for in the Wabash? This device here? They're like, which one was it? What logged in and which device were you using to log in and out of the account at 8 in the morning before the murders? And why the hell were you doing that? So where's that phone? Yeah, and that's basically it for the Keegan Klein part that I wanted to discuss. Oh, wait, hold on. There might be one more. Yeah, let me put this back up here real quick. Okay, so they ask him, so Anthony Schatz, so when they were asking you, did you send her images? You said no. Because you didn't, but Anthony Schatz did, right? No, because I don't remember sending them anything. Okay, well, I'm telling you here, 3 off the bat. Here's another one. Here's a couple more. And then here's one sent specifically to her. Is it bad that I'm super into you? Like, I would say that to all of the girls. I mean, it was the same thing with every one of those girls. But when you're telling me that you never sent her, or Anthony Schatz never sent her, because I don't remember sending her anything. I don't remember ever talking to her. I remember talking to her friend. Like, you're like, think you're going to catch me in a lie, and I'm not really lying to you at all. See, he must have felt like he was almost about to slip. It's not. I've already caught you in a lie, but you haven't. It is a lie. You haven't, though. You said, I've never sent her anything. And you asked me, do I remember that? And I said, no, I don't remember that. So I'm wondering if Kegan didn't send those images. But he knows who did. I'm not going to argue about the little itty bitty word sentences. So when he met Libby that night, maybe he was talking to her friend and somebody he was with was talking to Liberty. All right, let me play this quick video for you guys. We're running out of time.
We begin at 5 with IT Made and the question of what evidence investigators have on the Delphi murder suspect, Richard Allen. Allen's lawyers want prosecutors to hand over everything.
And they're planning to make their case to the judge Friday morning. IT Mate's Richard Essex is following this case for us.
Richard Allen's lawyers want the names of every person that have talked to police about this case. They want every single police report that has been filed on this case. His court-appointed lawyers have the green light to hire a private investigator, and this 7-page filing is the roadmap they plan to use for his defense. The 7-page filing is the first step in the discovery phase of this case. Allen's lawyers are looking for the names of confidential informants, all phone records, witness statements, whether there was any electronic surveillance or recordings. Ken Eastwood, the Boone County prosecutor, says this is fairly standard.
My experiences in a major investigation such as this, the sheer volume of stuff you're putting together is going to take some time.
After 4.5 years, investigators had not named a suspect or person of interest for the 2017 murders of Abby and Libby. Richard Allen became a person of interest after investigators went through previous interviews. At the time, police had received almost 20,000 tips and conducted close to 500 interviews. They discovered that Allen had told police in 2017, just days after the murders, that he had been on the Monon Trail the day the girls were murdered. Allen's lawyers want the names and addresses of everyone who offered relevant information to this case.
As a prosecutor, we are required by law to give to the defense anything that we intend to use at trial and anything that tends to show that the defendant didn't commit the crime.
Police released 3 seconds of cell phone video and audio of the person they believe murdered the girls. What else is on that recording? Are other people in the area? Did people come forward with Allen's name? The filing is asking for all the evidence collected about Allen to be turned over.
But as a prosecutor, generally, you give pretty much everything unless it's work product.
If the Carroll County Prosecutor holds back information or evidence that he believes is not relevant to Allen and then tries to introduce it later at the trial, there's a good chance the judge would not allow it.
Because the last thing you want to do is say, hey, now this is relevant. Now I want to use it in trial. Here it is for the first time. You don't, and the judge could easily say, you're not going to be able to use that. So what'll happen, so as prosecutors, you don't want to play that game.
Richard Allen and his court-appointed lawyers are expected to be in the Carroll County Courthouse Friday at 10 o'clock. In Indianapolis, Richard Essex, Switch TV, iTeam8.
So that was the update and the request, the discovery for the defense. So I'm sure we're going to see a strategy change from them now that they have all of the information, all the pieces. They'll start putting their own narrative together. All right. So we'll kind of talk about this timeline. It's not 100% accurate. I'm still working on it. But there's something I want to talk about at the end. There's this time frame from 2:13 where the suspect confronts the girls and begins leading them down the hill. About an hour and 45 minutes goes by between then and there. So when we get there, we're going to talk about that. Some things I want to bring up and see what you guys think about it. Okay, so we'll kind of stop and go. So at around, I believe, 12:46, 12:48 in this area, they snap a photo of the high bridge itself. And that's pretty much where the timeline begins. Truffles, is that a fact? If so, that's very interesting. Yeah, it could be Bogey. Could be two bad guys doing two bad things unrelated to each other. Thank you, Lynn. Yeah, see, that's when I last saw it was February 17th. But I didn't have it in front of me. Okay, so right here, right around 2:13, they're being confronted. Adult female is leaving the area. The juveniles are long gone. So look how much time passes right here. I think that it's possible that they were kidnapped and taken somewhere else. When I watch this timeline, that's the only thing I can think of. Look at all the time that's passing. Nobody sees anything. Nobody sees anything going on. We know that there was moving and staging and signatures. Does that take an hour and 45 minutes? What is going on during this time? Angela says, what fool would agree to meet young girls in broad daylight with the plan to kill them in a horrific bloodbath? Makes no sense. Well, we all know that even with Brian Koberger, I'm sure things didn't go the way he planned it. And it's really hard to say unless we know the motivation. Okay, so right here, so we got an hour and 45 minutes that goes by. in an interview, here, maybe I can pull this interview up. Maybe that'll help. So Mike Patty was asked a specific question. They were trying to clear up some rumors. And he was asked, so is it possible that the girls were taken and then brought back and where their bodies were found? And forgive me for this word, but it is an industry word, dump site. And Mike Patty says, you know what? I'm very close to this case. I live here. I know some of the investigators. From what I hear, I'm not, I don't think so. But they haven't come out and said specifically that they weren't taken somewhere else and brought back. So with an hour and 45 minutes of missing time, I'm beginning to believe that they were taken, and that the reason that you have the shoes and all that stuff where you found them was because they brought them right back to where they were taken, and they were placed in the woods where they were. And I think that the private drive could have been used for that very purpose. Very similar to what I think happened with the Evansdale case. They went to a secluded area, parked, and then went back some way. And it's almost the very same thing that happened here. So it's possible. Here, let's take a look at the timeline. Just a few more times, and we'll check with chat. And then we'll start to close it out with the super long intro. I mean, look at all that time. What's up, Linda? Good to see you. Thank you, Linda. I appreciate that. I appreciate all you guys for supporting my channel. And that doesn't mean you have to donate and things like that. I really appreciate the people that do choose to. But if you can't do things like that and you want to support my channel, hitting the thumbs up, it's really good for any YouTube channel that you like to watch, or that puts in time and content for certain things that you're interested in. If you always give them a thumbs up, it's always good for them. Just FYI. All right, so I'm going to catch up on chat, and then we're going to start closing her out here. Bogey says, is it possible that Richard Allen had his own catfishing going on? Maybe he has a sea cat? I don't know what that means. Thanks, Richard. I appreciate that. I don't think so, Vanessa. I think it's we're pretty clear on what law enforcement can and cannot say during an interview, and they can say a lot of untrue things or say a lot of misleading things, but there's certain things that they cannot lie about. Angela, you think the man in black is somebody separate? The 3 girls who reported the man in black, the other 2, one reported almost specifically the bridge guy, the blue jacket, the jeans, everything down to the hoodie over the hat, over his head. You had one that said the guy was wearing black jeans, black boots. And then the adult witness said he was wearing a jean jacket, blue jeans, and was out about 50 yards out on the first little plank there on the bridge 50 feet from her. So it is possible that the other 2 saw Richard Allen walking by. One wasn't paying attention. And then while the other 2 were distracted, one looks up and sees shortly after, completely missing the suspect, another man walks by, while the other 2 witnesses completely miss him. So it could be that as well. But I think they're all seeing the same thing, just in different lightings, different circumstances, trying to do their best to do something hard, which is remember something that had no significance at a specific time that it happened. That's not an easy thing to do. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying a pig roast didn't happen or it's not related. I've never seen anything. Sounds like just one of those weird things people talk about. And I don't know why you keep talking about it if you can't provide anything. Like, why do that? Why do it to yourself? I'm just going to brush it aside until somebody can send me something of substance or backing that up. But why waste your own time unless you could do it yourself? Hey, Anna. Same thing. I haven't seen that he was a hunter. I know that he has guns and knives. But another thing is he's not out there in the public on social media like TK and KK were. So he might be maybe more of a dangerous person that only people closest to him would really know what he's capable of doing. Yeah, that's a good point, Derek. Law enforcement didn't dump Yubo into the other apps. They made a point to single it out. Yeah, one thing we learned from the Idaho murders, the investigation, is even though they did have somebody that they were zeroing in on, they're not going to come out in the public and tell you that. Because if you're somebody out in the public who committed these murders and you're watching the news and you're on social media and then somebody releases information, you're like, oh shit, I need to do this now. I need to be more proactive in the way that in my attempts to elude law enforcement. So they didn't give him any information. They're like, no, we don't know anybody. We don't have any suspects. This is really frustrating. But they were in the process of um, getting DNA, verifying DNA, verifying registration on Elantras. So I'm just hoping they did the same stuff here in the Delphi case. As soon as they got the Hoosier Harvestor video, they should have been tracking down all similar vehicles. They should have been tracing all guns. I don't know if any of that happened. They should have been all registration. Did they not go far enough back with the registration? I don't know. I think that's the kind of stuff that Doug Carter means when he's like, well, we'll be able to tell you everything, in the right time. But, there may be another suspect out there. Why give him a head start? You know what I mean? Why tell him, yeah, we have your DNA? Because he's not, if this killer knew that they had his DNA, he's not gonna hang around. It's like, I got to get out of here. Showed pictures of that party. Did you verify date? Did you verify the people who were in the image? Did you verify what time? Did you verify the location? Or did you just have a video of people partying and they're like, this is the cemetery? Hey, Blind Squirrel. Question: was Kegan Klein's catfishing with Abby and Libby an illegal activity that he should be arrested or charged for? Yes. Yep. That is a crime. You cannot communicate. You cannot catfish underage girls online. The second you do that, it's a crime. It's like something misleading. The charge is on Keegan Klein's arrest affidavit. Thank you, Teresa. Tina's Dave now. Look here, Dave. Well, shout out to Bruce. He'll shock your mind. Good old mind shock. LGW says, I have had more than one boyfriend who has always backed into a parking space. I sucked at backing up, but I do pull through whenever I can to be facing out. Well, let me ask you this, LGW. Was he driving a truck? Because usually when you drive a truck, it's just easier to back it in. Not only is it easier to get in, it's easier to get out. But we're talking about a small, sporty vehicle. And you're just going for a walk. And it looks like that parking area, you could almost do like a full roundabout. Like you wouldn't even have to back in. You could just pull in, kind of do a roundabout and park facing back towards the road. Why back in close to that old building? Because I mean, I like to back in too, but when you're in public and you back in, you're almost showing your license plate to everybody, right? You're backing in. There's your license plate. This person backed in apparently against the building to hide the license plate. Thank you, Francis. Little inside joke. Anna says if Ron Logan was involved, the muddy and bloody guy should have cleaned up at Ron's. Yeah, that shit don't make any sense. I even wonder if maybe the killer beat up Richard Allen, took his gun from him, and unchambered the round. Like, here, go home, keep your mouth shut. Here's your gun. I'm keeping these bullets. Don't know what happened to the spent casing. Go home, get your mind right, get your story straight. Let's see. In my opinion, KK ratted, and then they realized they talked to him before. If this is law enforcement covering up, but they truly believe they've been watching Allen like they did with KK for 3 years. Well, law enforcement admitted that they weren't watching KK. They said that because of a clerical error, he was able to go free for so long. I don't know what that means. I don't know if they're being honest, but that's what they said. Indy Pam says, Sleuth Intuition, have we ever seen the PCA for the search of Richard Allen's house on October 25th? No. But I believe that the one that we're reading for his arrest, and I was confused for the longest time. I thought it was the probable cause to conduct the search. That's how it reads. And that's what I think, that portion is what they had prior to the search. And I think what they found after, I think, is very quote unquote germane to their case as far as the other suspect is concerned. I think that might be what's pointing them in another direction. Not sure what that would be or what that might be. Yeah, that is true, Miss Kitty. I have a feeling that the daughter may have turned him in. She may have seen something. Kay says Ron Logan wasn't out drinking at the time this happened, and he only looked for an alibi for the exact time this happened. He was on the property when this happened. Ron Logan is definitely involved. Well, he lives on the property. Why wouldn't he be on the property? I mean, I would maybe question why he was at the I don't know if they called it is it a dump? I don't think it is a dump. I think it's like a trash processing place. Well, he said he was there around 12, I think like 11 to 12. So why would he go do all that stuff, come back to commit a murder? Now, what did he take to the dump? I know at the crime scene there was some trees that were cut down and things like that, but I always suspected that investigators did that so that they can investigate the area better. Or maybe there was blood on them. They needed to take the samples with them. So I don't know. If it happened before, is that what he took? Did he take that to the dump? Why would he take it to the dump? So I just don't understand why he's so busy, why they didn't find anything in his home. From what I understand, there's no connection to Richard Allen and Ron Logan. So why think it was him? Was it because of the whole falsifying it and coming up with the alibi? I think that can be explained away. But that's just my opinion. Now, he could be involved. He's definitely not the man on the bridge. I can tell you that now. His GPS coordinates showing that he was on his property. I don't think he needs to explain that. That's just my opinion again. Eye of Apophis' muddy and bloody witness makes no sense if Ron Logan was involved or if he was working with someone. Hey, Rebecca. Jamie says, does anyone else think Richard Allen, KK, and Ron Logan were involved in the ring and it was kidnapping gone bad? No. I just don't see anything connecting Ron Logan. I mean, you can literally take him out of the equation and put in just some random homeowner for that same property, and we would probably be accusing them. Like, there's nothing specific about him other than him falsifying an alibi. But only a year later, we know why he did that. He was put in prison as a habitual offender. That's what he was trying to prevent. But that's just my opinion. He could be involved. I just don't see anything. So if you ask me if I believe, I'll say no, I don't believe. Do I think it's possible? Yes. Is he the man on the bridge? 100%. 99.99% no. Yeah, very strange case. With every update, it gets stranger too. That's what's really strange about this case, is the more we know, the less we actually know. The Young sketch and the New Direction are a wrench in the simplest explanation of a stalker killer. Yeah, I wonder if they were on the right path and then they kind of went off the right path. And if so, I wonder why. All right, guys, we're going to start closing her out. I'm going to play that long intro and we'll hang out in the chat. I think it's, how long is this thing? Oh, crap. It's 15 minutes long. So the last 15 minutes of the second hour.
NASA, Disney.
Way too many. Yeah, D, hopefully for good reason. Hopefully we'll find out
down the hill
why they did what they did.
I have not a clue. I think it's because they said I was the last person to talk to her. Is what they've told me. No, never. Not at all. gave up my DNA, a hair follicle test. I've done everything they want me to. I have not a clue.
The tape itself, it's not an order he's giving them. It almost sounds like if it would like a school teacher say, guys, down the hill, or a coach, like someone who has very familiar.
Like a father who has their own children. Hey, what's up, Unsolved? Says the fact the girls at the bridge that day walked past Libby and Abby after seeing Alan on the bridge, and Alan saying he didn't see Libby and Abby. Shady as fuck, big time. Yep. And it was only the adult witness who saw the girls. The other girls didn't see Libby and Abby. It was the adult witness who reported seeing him on the bridge, taking a short walk, and then finally passing the girls on her way back to the Mears parking lot, where she sat for a short time and then leaves at about 2:14, a minute after the girls are confronted on the bridge by the person she just saw out there. Hey, what's up, Ruckus? Good to see you. What up? Ski mask incident seems phony to me. Why would you say that? Just a hunch? Hey, Devoted, good to see you. What's up, Julianne? Richard says, that's a trip. Prosecutors have to give over evidence that the suspect didn't do the crime. Well, not that he didn't do the crime, or something that might lean towards that. They can't just leave it out. They got to give him everything, not just the good stuff. And thank you for that, by the way, Richard. I really appreciate all your support, man. I really do. It means a lot. The only thing I wish we could have spent more time on is the possibility that the girls were actually taken to another location. When we see the timeline and the way the witnesses kind of describe it, and how the Hoosier Harvest Store video kind of verifies the timeline, there's about an hour and 45 minutes of missing time from when the girls are confronted. So I think it's possible that they were taken somewhere else and brought back.
Investigators say he used the fake Anthony Shots social media profile to communicate with underage girls and receive sexually explicit images. Police interviewed Kline at the time of his arrest in August 2020. They questioned him in that interview about another
next hearing is February 17th.
To the Anthony Shots profile just after the
and
Delphi
I think they're just going to discuss something.
Personally. The police told Kline
I'll have to take a look.
From school, sees this guy with a ski mask.
We already posted it in the chat if you want to scroll back up.
This address to Anthony Shots. As a matter of fact, that's the incident that started everything else last time. That's how everything started last time, with that incident.
That's a good point, Anna. Anna says, I think if Richard Allen had been involved with Anthony Shots and the girls, he would have been arrested a lot sooner. It's possible. Maybe they didn't have enough information at the time to put it all together. What graphic are you referring to? Alan cannot explain why an eyewitness saw him on the bridge. Then Libby and Abby passed by the eyewitness, yet Alan claims he did not see the girls. I call major BS. Yeah, he would have had to left the area from the south end of the bridge for that to be true. It would have been impossible. Yeah, Miss Thane, Kegan could be a confidential informant at this point for sure. That's a good point. T-Bam says redressing or looking for the bullet he dropped. Yeah, he could have been panicked. Could have been moving and staging, but for an hour and 45 minutes, it seems like a long time. Good point, Frank. If you guys would please hit the thumbs up. It's not that hard. Don't be a scrub. UK True Crime isolated them, which was the objective. Yeah, he did isolate them. But weren't they isolated on the back end of that bridge? Or do you think he wanted to isolate them more? Too risky moving them and coming back doesn't make sense. To me, it makes the most sense. Brings them down the hill to a vehicle that's waiting there, puts them in the vehicle, takes them away from the area. They commit the murder. They pull back up to that same road. They take the girls from the vehicle across the creek, and then they get back and then Richard Allen leaves one way. The other guy leaves the other opposite direction.
Gabe, where's the boy truck coming up? Gabe, where's the boy truck coming up? Gabe, where's the boy truck coming up?
It seems more possible now, Teresa. I'm not saying that's what happened, but I think it is more possible now than ever.
Where's the boy truck coming up? Gabe, where's the boy truck coming up?
Yeah, which affidavit? I mean, they all seem to contradict each other. Well, I know why it was kidnapping. You can't take one person. If you pull a gun on somebody and tell them to step 2 feet to the left, you just kidnap that person. I'm fully aware of that. But I'm saying they may have actually committed a full-on kidnapping. Not just by definition. Yeah, they could have been taken somewhere else, brought back, and then killed there. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just saying we don't know what happened. "10 minutes at the crime scene, 1 hour roaming the woods, walking back." Yeah, it could have happened immediately. He could have just sat there, maybe. Like, what have I done? Shit, he could have passed out for all we know. No, the private drive goes in the opposite direction of the cemetery. Right at the south end of the bridge is where that private drive ends. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping, JJ. Just put it all out there, man. Shout out to Delphi Timeline and Bill for sending this footage over to me. This is a little clip from a much longer video. Thank you, Bill. Oh, yeah, so that makes a good point. Kelsey said she dropped them off and waited for the girls to get to the trailhead. Yeah, that makes sense why she might have waited there. And it doesn't take long to get to the trailhead. All right, we're going to close her down, guys. Time is up. If you are watching the replay, thank you so much. If you could, please, once again, hit the like button. It's really good if you support my channel. That's the easiest way to support what I do here. Only if you want to. You don't have to. Consider becoming a member. We stay active in the members only. And leave a comment, and we'll check up on it. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks, Lynn. I appreciate you. Yes, I do. Take care, Miss Thang. We'll see you next time. Lisa, that's possible. Would have been hard to take them from the vehicle into there, but who knows? Maybe they did have access to that, and we're using it for other reasons. Always good to see you, Ruckus. I hope things are well. All right, guys. I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for hanging out. Peace out.